The collapse experiment. This is kind of a tough video to do because I'm late to the game. I know that this happened a while ago, but my old interest in comics, and I was really into comics back in the 90s, early 2000s. Collected them, I wanted to draw them. I did some indie comic stuff back in the day, and then reality hit, which was I had bills to pay, no free time, and you can't really have free time when you get into a profession like comics. You either make the time or you don't have time at all. And I just didn't have time at all. And it's a lot of mistakes on my part over the years. But recently, getting back into comic news, things that are happening, learning about tragedies like Ed Piskor, I think it's a time to reflect as to how do we protect ourselves from this happening to us, dudes, just dudes in general. So for a while now, I have been on Twitter, and as of about 5 minutes ago, I deleted my account. And I haven't been on there in a while. And the reason I decided to just delete it, it's the longest I've ever been on there without getting kicked off for one. So that was kind of a miracle in itself. I don't know if that had anything to do with Elon buying the company, because I had like 3 or 4 accounts before, and I would say something to somebody, and people wouldn't like that, and I would refuse to take the tweet down because it was based on principle. You're telling me I can stay on the platform if I delete it myself, but you have the power to delete it as the company. Like, YouTube has no problem taking down my videos. But Twitter's going to be like a bitchy school teacher and say, like, you either take it down yourself or you're just not allowed to use your account. Okay. How about I just leave it up and people can still look at it because you're dumb, and I'll just start a new account. So that's what I did in the early days. And then I had this recent account and made some friends. Friends. Okay, so I chatted with people on the internet, and then I noticed recently, and this is why I decided to take it down. So people that I had been following for a while, either they stopped tweeting, twittering, Xing, whatever it is called on the platform now. Either they stopped posting or I just stopped getting messages. And this started around the time that the election really started to get going. And which was not all that long ago. I'd go on Twitter, I'm scrolling through. I'm not seeing anything from people that I follow. So I'm like, oh, okay, we're back in 2020 bullshit land again. And Twitter's got a new owner. I don't know if he knows about this. I don't really give a shit at this point. All I know is I'm here to keep in touch with certain people. I'm not seeing posts by these people. Fuck it, I'm out. And overall, I think leaving Twitter was probably one of the best things I could have done. Another social media account that I have and have had for a while is Instagram. I mean, aside from today going on there and trying to figure out how easy it would be to deactivate it or close it, is it deactivate? Is it delete? I don't know. I couldn't find it. Couldn't even find it on there under settings or anything. So I have no idea. Do I have to go into Facebook, reactivate my Facebook account to delete my Instagram account, which should be a totally separate account, but Facebook sucks and Mark Zuckerberg just wants to look at dick pics all day or whatever it is that he gets his jollies on? The point is, social media is not what anybody thought it was going to be. I mean, let's face it. Originally, Facebook was supposed to help college guys get laid by figuring out who that hot chick they saw on campus was, getting in her class, therefore getting in her pants. So yeah, Facebook had some really positive motivation behind it when they created that. As for Twitter, I have no idea. It's supposed to be like where journalists go to journal with other journalists. I mean, isn't that what it started out as? It was like celebrities, politicians, journalists. And it was really just those groups hanging out amongst themselves saying, this is what I'm having for lunch. Don't you like this Taco Tuesday? So now Twitter has gotten to the point where it is basically a place where people get together to plot someone else's demise, destroy their life, and drive them to self-delete. And nobody has anything to say about it for some reason. So yeah, I understand where people will say, like, professionally, I should have a Twitter account. So as of right now, I've got email, which nobody really contacts me on. I've got a phone. Nobody ever calls me except when they want me to do a survey during these election years. Or the warranty on my car is expired. Which I've had the same car for 20 years, so I'm sure that expired a long time ago. And we have all these methods to keep in touch with people, and yet we're using social media, which is now killing people. And quite frankly, I would rather just not have social media in my life than continue to just let this go on. The other thing that we can do the other thing that we can do to prevent another Ed Piskor is don't buy comics. It's not don't buy comics. It's don't buy DC and Marvel. Don't buy anything done by these assholes that decided to mindfuck this guy into no longer being here. Anybody involved in that, don't buy their stuff. Here's the thing. We are what keeps these industries going. And if we don't like what they're doing, we don't give them our money. It's actually quite simple. You don't have to buy gay Superman. You don't have to buy cuckold Batman or whatever it is that they're doing with him these days. I really don't want to know. X-Men, the Orgy Island X-Men. Orgy Island X-Men. Did you guys actually give money for that? Shame on you if you did. I don't give a fuck if you're reviewing it or not. Have your local library buy copies. And then read it there, do a review, and talk about how badly it sucks. It would suck enough that your local library is dishing out your tax dollars to pay for it, but that's one copy, as opposed to your local comic book store, for whatever ungodly reason, buying this shit and putting it on the shelf, making more sales. You have to encourage these people. More indie comics, more alternatives, anything other than the fucking garbage that these companies are putting out by garbage people who did this to somebody. Hell, Marvel movies suck. Marvel movies suck right now. Don't go watch them. Again, if anything, just check out the DVD. Wait for it to pop up on your freaking Netflix. Don't go to the movie theaters. It's just more money being dumped into a horrible industry that does not need to be fed. Okay, we're seeing what's going on with Star Wars and Disney, and hopefully the cult of Disney will just die out like fucking Jonestown. The point is, like, none of these assholes are going to be prosecuted. None. But in the meantime, we can sure as fuck make sure that they go unemployed. That's something that can happen. Like, it's our wallets that keep these industries going, and if they're going to disrespect us and disrespect the people that we respect in the industry to the point where they're driving them insane enough to self delete, why don't we just delete the industry to the point where it's in ashes, it has to be rebuilt, and it's actually rebuilt by people who respect it, know the history, who understand what it is that the actual customers want? Because until we put our foot down and let these people know we're not tolerating this bullshit anymore, they're going to keep doing this garbage. Who has actually spoken out and said, hey, I'm trying not to say certain words right now. You know, the dumb bitch that worked for DC. So, who has anybody actually gone to her and said, you know, what you did was unacceptable? You didn't need to feed into that, and you know, you're partially responsible for that dude no longer being here. It's not acceptable. You're fired. No, it's not going to happen. It's not. It's absolutely. It's no. Instead, she's going to be promoted because, as I know from working in various industries, when you're a human sack of shit, you get promoted. You get better pay. You're put in charge of more people because for some reason that is how our society functions right now. Instead of somebody like Ed Piskor actually, I don't know, going up the ranks at Marvel and bringing comics back to what they used to be back in the 80s and 90s. No, no, no. Instead, we get fucking gay Superman, we get Orgy Island X-Men, Alfred's dead. Yeah, that was mind-blowing. Yeah. Alfred's dead. Um it's garbage. It's all garbage. Everything in the industry is garbage. And even fucking Mike Baron, the guy who wrote all the classic Punisher stories, I enjoyed reading growing up and collecting. And I even met Mike Baron at a comic convention back in the 90s before he got booted out of the industry then. Um, yeah, I met him, got a bunch of those Punisher comics signed, and now he's not even allowed to like freaking work in the industry because I don't know. The accusations speak for themselves. They've never read an actual Mike Baron Punisher comic. The people running the industry don't even know what it is they're selling or complaining about. Just like every other fucking industry I've ever worked in. So, a quick rundown of every business that I've ever worked in. Well, the purpose of security is to not secure the location, but to actually call the cops and to lower insurance rates for companies who decide to hire security, which means that is why you're working for minimum wage and you're not really there to protect anything. That's security. Healthcare industry. Healthcare industry is a complete myth all on its own. They're not there for your health. They're there to treat sickness. They don't want you to be healthy because if you were healthy, you would not go to a healthcare industry. You'd be going to a fucking fitness center and talking to a dietitian and nutritionist. Deliveries. Oh, the delivery system. Let me think on that one for a second. Deliveries. So we're talking like, not necessarily the postal service, but places like that. It's really all about maximizing profits by moving stuff from point A to point B at the lowest cost, not really giving a shit about the product that is being shipped. That kind of narrows that down. Government taking your money to filter it to either themselves or people close to them at a raised amount of cost, because who gives a shit? It's not their money, it's taxpayer money that's soon going to be their money. It's almost like these people watched in living color and that whole segment of Mo Money, where it's like, how do you make more money without using yo money? Yeah, that is government. They take your money, filter it to the people they're associated with, and live happily ever after for some fucking reason. I'm pretty sure that's called theft. As for the comic book industry, I have no fucking idea as to what they're doing right now. They're not making any content to turn into billion-dollar movies. They can't make billion-dollar movies anymore. The moment that they went away from the older stories that everybody loved and enjoyed, they stopped making money, but they keep putting out this garbage bullshit for no reason other than they hate you. I think they just hate you. I think the worst, maybe not the worst, one of the parts that irritates me the most about this whole Piskor situation is the dude. I've been watching his videos. The dude was really like a living, walking historian, a museum of classic comic book art and style. Like actual pen to paper, learning all the various ways of lettering, coloring, shading. Uh, this dude was the epitome of like what we wish comics would go back to. And the people who killed him have no idea, like, they have no notion of what the fuck comics have been, are, could be, and they don't care. It's like they killed the art itself. So anyways, yeah, how do we prevent this from happening again? Well, for one, I'm kind of done with social media. I've got my Substack. I don't really talk to anybody. Substack is not really a platform to chat with people. It's got a chat thing on there. I don't think anybody ever uses it. I'll post articles and stories and stuff that I write. And so I still use that. I've got my website, theclassexperiment.com. YouTube, which I don't know how long that's going to last, because I start making videos on here and shit starts disappearing, and I start getting the check thing where they're like, "Hey, stop that. Stop talking about these things. 1984. Yeah. So yeah, YouTube, collapseexperiment.com, Substack, The Collapse Experiment, Instagram in the meantime, which honestly I'm never on there. It used to be a thing where I would go on Twitter and I'd find funny memes and photos and stuff, and I'd just collect them and then throw them all on Instagram at one time, and then just kind of walk away. Like, okay, that was fun. I'm done here now. And I don't even look at other people's posts on there. Yeah, I think that's about it for me. Like I said, there's so many ways to get a hold of people, and for some reason, I'm not on Facebook. And for some reason, people just continue to use this stupid shit. This self-destructing shit. And I get it. 2020, dude was lonely. Yeah, I get it. But in the meantime, that's all the more reason to actually have like family and friends close to you in your circle that you see face to face, like your actual neighbors, maybe. Keep in touch with them. But yeah, the internet, the fucking internet. Dude, I don't know if I'd be upset if like Russia or China took out the internet. Might actually do us some good. Keep on typing.